セガカラフルパレット What is the longest amount of time you've spent on playing Project Sekai in one sitting? You might be thinking 20 to 30 minutes, an hour at most. Try 16 hours. Now you might be wondering why I would do such a thing. Now stay with me here because I actually have a really good explanation for this. See, I really wanted this pretty PNG title, and I really think that now, I'm sure most of you guys are aware that Project Sekai has events because if you're broken crystals, this is one of the primary ways to farm for them as stated in my crystal guide. If you're a casual player, you're probably not too worried about your ranking as long as you're above a certain threshold. But I know there's some of you out there that stalk the top 100 section and wonder what it would be like to be on that shiny leaderboard. You're probably also scrolling through the ranking rewards and thinking, wow, the top 100 titles look so much better than the boring titles in the lower tiers. These have feathers and flowers and mine has nothing. Well, I'm here today to tell you exactly what it's like to be with those cool people. By the time of this upload, my 3rd anniversary of streaming will have just passed! Woo! And what better way to celebrate this occasion than by giving you guys an in-depth explanation on the pain and suffering I went through to reach top 50 in one of the most competitive events in Ian Sekai history. 初音ミクカラフルステージ featuring Joe's Tiering Journey. So first and foremost, what exactly is tiering? So when you tier, you play the game and you aim for a specific rank. Your rank is determined by the amount of points you have. You earn points by playing live shows. Essentially, it's a battle of points. Who can get the most points within the event period? You don't have to be good at the game to tier. Really, anyone can do it. Tiering is not focused on chart accuracy. That's already tested in ranked matches, but please don't die in a show because that affects your points. You still have to try. The most important thing for tiering is time and strength, both physical and mental. Can you play the most games and earn the most points? It's truly a test of your willpower. So why did I tier? Well, I've been playing Project Sekai for a long time. I've experienced practically everything that the game has to offer. I've experienced the epic highs and lows of the gacha system. I've full comboed an AP to charts. I've gone head to head with other players in ranked matches. I got my 10-win streak and promoted my Twitch, and many more. But the only thing left was staring at me right in the face. Tier for an event and get on the leaderboard. Tiering is a big decision. Did I even have any experience in it? Do I even know what's necessary for it? Well, luckily I do have some experience in tiering. I used to play Love Live School Idol Festival, which was another rhythm game that had its own tiering system. However, that run wasn't very serious because I was still in school at the time. All I remember was waking up every few hours, yes, even in the middle of the night, to make sure my LP, bonus energy equivalent, wasn't full so that I was getting points efficiently. See, I thought my Project Sekai tiering experience would be similar to that, but a little bit more intense. I was wrong. But more on that later though. Of all the Project Sekai events, why did I choose Close Game Offline, or CGO? The answer is simple. I love the set. I love everything about it. The concept, the aesthetics, the outfits, everything. It's my favorite set to this day. Also, my favorite characters, Toya and Emu, are featured together, so that's a massive bonus in my book. Once this set was released on the Japanese server, I knew that this was the event where I was gonna make my debut on the leaderboard. So after the announcement, I knew I had a year to save for the release on the global server. From that point forward, I would save anything that gave me bonus energy. Cans, foods, whatever. I would hoard these until the day I began my harsh climb to the top. I was going to get T100. Huh? Wait a minute, Joe. The title says you got T50 though. Yeah, I know. But don't worry, I'll explain the change later. When I began my journey, my goal was to hit T100. Okay, before we go any further, I'm gonna put a huge disclaimer here. I wanna make this abundantly clear that this is not a tiering guide. Do not follow the methods I used to achieve my rank. The behaviors described in this video are not healthy and should not be replicated by viewers. Please make sure to prioritize your health above all else and stay in school. Nothing is worth sacrificing your life over a rank and a title. I don't even recommend you tier ever. Viewer discretion is advised. CGO Gacha release. So I was gonna roll on this gacha regardless of tiering because you guys all know that I adore this set. However, getting all the featured cards from this set will significantly help my tiering experience. So event bonuses are very important. The higher the bonus, the more points you get, the higher you will rank. This allows me to save on crystals and bonus energy in the long run. But keep in mind that rolling on the gacha is not a requirement for tiering. So I saved up 218,065 crystals for this gacha. The goal is to get the whole set, but Toya was my priority because he's my favorite character. I won't go too much into the gacha because I wanted to focus more on the tiering aspect, but you can find a full version of how my pulls went in this video. Massive spoiler incoming if you haven't watched the video. I ended up getting the full set! I got Toya early at 130 pulls. Thank God. I had to spark Emu at 200 pulls. Okay, let's just move on from that. So I'm going to appreciate this. And then I decided to take a chance on Nene, and I ended up getting her 60 pulls in. I like to thank the Academy! I like to thank the Academy! So totally, I did 260 pulls, which costed me 78,000 crystals. This leaves me with 140,665 crystals to spend on tiering. I know the math doesn't add up, that's because I got extra crystals from character ranks after I rolled. After getting all the featured cards, it was time to create my team. I was told to kick the 1-star Miku out of my team, so here's the actual team I started with. While the event bonus was higher in the previous team, talent also plays a huge role in scoring high, so I had to keep a good balance. I was told that the 1-star Miku was weighing down my team a lot, hence the switch. So how many items did I actually save up for this event? I know you guys are dying to know. Here is a video I took of all my materials before I tiered. I started this event with 483 S cans, which is equal to 1 bonus energy per can. I had 165 L cans, which is equal to 10 bonus energy per can. I had 17 food items, 14 of which were equal to L cans, and 3 of which were equal to S cans. These are the amount of other materials I had before I started tiering. My starting bonus energy is 10 out of 10 because I am free to play. If you buy the Colorful Plus standard, you can have your max bonus energy be out of 20. Since I am tiering for a cheerful carnival event, there is a gifting system for bonus energy. You can get gifted ×3 energy 3 times a day for free. This is equal to 9 bonus energy a day, and the event is 9 days, so I can get an extra 81 bonus energy. You can also get gifted ×5 or ×10 bonus energy if paid crystals are used, and I do recall getting gifted those a few times, so a huge thanks to those people that did. Now I'm gonna lay down the cold, hard truth for some of you guys. Tiering is not free-to-play friendly. Only tier if you are absolutely sure you can afford it. If you're gonna tier as high as I did, you will 100%, without a doubt, have to use your crystals. Okay, think about it. I saved bonus energy cans and food for about a year, and I still had to use crystals. That alone should tell you how expensive this is. So 1 energy costs 10 crystals. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it quickly adds up. If you are aiming to tier much higher than me, then you will have to spend actual real-life money to keep up. Now why? Let's think about this. To earn points efficiently, you need bonus energy. But what happens when you run out of bonus energy? You can refill using crystals. But what happens when you run out of crystals? You pay real money to buy crystals to refill your energy so that you can gain points. It's a vicious cycle. I personally recommend saving your crystals and using them on cards you love rather than sacrificing your soul for a PNG title. I only tiered because I thought it would be entertaining to document my experience for you all, and I also had the crystals and resources too. Before I started to tier, my rank was at 201. Tiering is a good way to level up Kizuna's or trust ranks, and I chose to farm for Akito and Toya's trust rank and Emu and Nene's trust rank. I will also show the levels they started at. Akito and Toya started at level 5, Emu and Nene started at level 1. Since the event was a cheerful carnival, I had 2 teams to pick from, and I chose to be on Team Garbage because that was the team predicted to win. So what did I do about my challenge shows? Tiering is based on points, so for the next 9 days, I chose to do the character that I had the strongest cards for. Wanna take a guess at who that is? It's Toya. Shocker! I would do Toya's challenge show to Hitorinbo Envy Expert every day to maximize my points. What was my game plan going into this? The super well-crafted plan that I had was to play as much as I can allow myself to. And that's pretty much it. But if we want to get more technical, imagine tiering as a running competition that combines the 100-meter dash and a marathon. At the beginning of the event, typically the first day, you have to sprint as fast as you can to gain a significant lead from your competitors. After a while, you can fall into a steady pace as if you're running a marathon. At the end of the event, you have to start sprinting again because it's the final stretch and everyone will be competing for that medal. This is the method that I followed. I would also like to mention that I am tiering for a cheerful carnival event. So how I tier here will be different compared to a marathon event. There is a whole other game plan if you're tiering for a marathon, since you can choose what songs you want to play for co-op, compared to a cheerful carnival where there's a random song picker for co-op. For tiering, it is better to play in co-op compared to a solo show because you get more points. I knew I had an advantage over other people. I had the resources and I had the time. So what could possibly go wrong? Day 1. Start dash. I'm not too sure where the term start dash originated from. All I can think of when I hear this term is that one Love Live song. If anyone can tell me where it originated from, please let me know. I assume it might be from some running competition, but I digress. So as I stated before, start dash is a crucial moment in tiering, and I couldn't mess this up. The pressure was crazy. If I didn't establish myself on this day, the rest of the event is gonna be really grim. But luckily, I gathered my own little team, and I even got a manager to help me. Neptune, if you're watching this, thank you so much for your help during this chaos. We had everything set, and we were ready to roll. So I began playing live shows on ×5 energy. And fun fact, ×3, ×5, and ×7 are the most efficient energies to play on when doing events. I won't go into too much detail on this, but there are guides explaining why. You know, I thought this event was gonna go smoothly, but as you will see, this event was riddled with issues. So that was definitely a treat to go through. Very early on into my tiering journey, I realized we were disbanding. A lot! More than I anticipated, and when you're in a high-stress situation, every disband pop-up pushes you further and further to your breaking point. And it didn't help that when we did get to play shows, the song picker was not kind to us. I remember getting melted 20 minutes in when we need to prioritize playing as many games as possible. I was scratching my head, wondering why this cheerful carnival experience was so bad, because it's never this bad. And then I was told about the dreaded 89 curse. So when you enter a co-op room, you're put into a waiting room to match up with another team on the opposing side. And in the top left corner lies a timer. With this bug, once the timer reaches 89, the room disbands automatically. There was supposed to be an update to help tierers get more matches by allowing same team matches, where before you could only play if you were matched up with people from the opposing team. I think the bug happened because something about the code wasn't implemented correctly, and I know the Japanese server had this issue as well. So I was getting nerfed hard by this 89 curse. If you are a CGO survivor, you know what an absolute nightmare this was. Just disband after disband after disband. No matches in 11 seconds? Disband! I'm sure you're curious as to how many disbands I went through, right? Well, you're in luck because I kept count in my trusty pink journal. Every time I got a disband, I would add a tally to the journal. However, I didn't start keeping count until 7:18 p.m., which is around 90 minutes after the event started, so the numbers aren't fully representative of how many disbands I went through. At the end of each day, I will reveal how many disbands I encountered. Ugh, it was a rough day. Not just for me, but also my team. It's one thing to not have a match, but every time we disbanded, we would be kicked out of the room, which means we had to constantly send room codes and make sure everyone was in the room, which was wasting a lot of time in something where time is everything. I was playing on expert difficulty when I started, but my hands were starting to feel some strain, so I switched to playing on hard difficulty at around 9:30 p.m. It didn't help that the song picker was brutal to me. It kept giving me boss songs, and I was starting to feel personally attacked. As I'm sitting at my desk, trudging through the shows, I wonder if I'm able to get through this. I mean, it's only the first day, so I can tap out, right? In the back of my mind, I was wondering if I should just cut my losses here and give up. And keep in mind, I was only about 4 hours into the first day of the event. There are 8 grueling days left. I asked my team if I should give up here, and of course they told me not to, so I kept going. You know, I didn't realize the mistake I made when I chose to tier for this event. This event was a lot more competitive than I anticipated. So we're almost 5 hours in, and I was already feeling tired. What's worse is that I was constantly stuck in the T200 range, which is from T101 to T200. Getting onto the leaderboard is an extremely grueling process. When you're at a lower ranking, it's easier to climb. But once you're in this range, the rank increases start to dwindle, and you're practically clawing your way to make it there. At around 10:30 p.m., there was a noticeable increase in the amount of disbands because we were nearing dead hours. Dead hours is a period within the day where there are not many people playing. Most people living normal lives are logging off at this point because they're getting ready for bed. This should typically give me the chance to start climbing more, but we just kept disbanding due to not finding any matches within 11 seconds. This was so detrimental to my run because if I'm not getting any matches, I'm not getting any points. If I'm not getting any points, I can't climb. My team did sense this, so at 10:43 p.m., I was told to stop doing custom rooms and do public rooms instead. Public rooms will be referred to as pubs from now on. I had to increase my energy usage from ×5 to ×7 to ensure that I would make it onto the leaderboard tonight. It was an absolute must that I make it to T100 before I ended the first day. So I continued to play in pubs, and at long last, at 11:41 p.m., I make it into T100. Yo, thank you, yo. Thank you. I'm still really stressed at this point because it's not over yet. I need to ensure my lead before I clock out for the night. So I had to keep going. I would not stop until my eyes physically could not open. I was reassured by everyone that day 1 is normally pretty crazy and should calm down within the next few days. Future Joe would later realize that this was a lie. I witnessed firsthand what tiredness does to me. I mean, it's common sense that tiredness makes someone more irritable, but it's kind of scary to be aware of it and not be able to control it. I was extremely agitated at every disband pop-up or player that would take a long time to load. Again, losing time means losing your rank. I remember I was so frustrated, I was shaking my phone and yelling at it.
1, 2, 3.
Mr. Krabs, I wanna go to bed!
Despite my frustrations, I was able to take advantage of dead hours, and by 1 a.m., I reached the hee hee ha ha funny rank, T69. At 2 a.m., I made a decision that changed my life forever. Okay, that's an exaggeration. I decided to go for T50. And I know what you guys are thinking. Joe, the competition for top 100 is not looking pretty. Why would you put yourself through even more suffering? Well, with the help of my mods whispering in my ear to follow the devil on my shoulder, I came to the conclusion that I don't tier often, so why not go all out on my favorite event of all time? Also, like, when are Toya and Emu ever gonna be featured together again? This event was made for me. I knew what I had to do. Also, doesn't the top 50 title look so much better than the top 100 title? I mean, just look at them! Now with the new goal in mind, we have to lock in. But it's not a journey without obstacles in the road. One of the major stressors for me was the fact that I was going to be losing a day for a filming project that unfortunately will never see the light of day. So I had to make sure I was playing more over the next few days to make up for this lost time. I need to be well above T50 to be able to end tonight. My manager recommended I stop at 2.5 million points, so I just kept on playing into the night. And we finally come to the end of day 1 at 4:01 a.m. I have been playing for 10 hours straight. It was time to call it. Here are the final stats for day 1. I ended at T46 with 3,192,657 points. My rank is now 206. I am currently at 142,915 crystals, and this increase is due to leveling up, mission pass, event stories, etc. On this day, I used 42 L cans, so we still got some materials left. I have 484 S cans, 123 L cans, and 17 food items remaining. And last but not least, the one you've all been waiting for, the disband count. We had over 179 disbands on day 1. Okay. Before sleeping, I upgraded decorations for Akito and Nene to max level, and then I also upgraded some group decorations, and then I also upgraded plants. Somewhere along the way, I changed my Akito card from this wonky 2-star to the one from the shop. This is a blessing because it's one of the only times the shop card matches the event attribute. I increased the mastery rank of this card to 5 to get more event bonus, and my team ended up having an event bonus of 290%. After this, I went to bed. Apparently, while I was sleeping, there was a maintenance from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., which was great because that means the rankings were stalled for a bit. The big question though, did this maintenance fix the 89 bug? Nope!
Day 2.
So I overslept. Big mistake on my part. I planned on waking up at 10:30 a.m., but obviously that did not happen. I mean, at least when I woke up, I got an extra 2 L cans and 200 crystals from maintenance. It's also the 1st of the month, and you know what that means! A mission pass reset! Ah! So we get more crystals and cans. Remember last night when I ended at T46? Guess where I ended up today? T99. My slip up put us in a massive pickle, so we need to push really hard today to make up for that lost time. I began playing on ×5 energy again. I'm not gonna lie, seeing myself drop that much had me rattled a little bit. Actually, not a little bit, a lot. I still wanted T50, so I wasn't gonna give up. I mean, it's only day 2, right? So it's still too early for thoughts like that. For the next few hours, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just keep playing while the disbands smack you in the face. At 1:45 p.m., I got to T80. At 3:25 p.m., I hit T72. At 4:02 p.m., I got to T66, and I had to stop. Big lore drop incoming. I do figure skating. I had lessons, so I lost time. Womp womp. As I got ready for figure skating, I would play in pubs. I tried to play in the car on the way there. I do not recommend that. I always end up feeling nauseous if I look at my phone in the car. I was playing on normal and it was difficult. And I also lost connection. I also remember this one time I had to play Next Nest on Master in the car because I got distracted, so I didn't get to pick the difficulty I wanted. I was fighting for my life because of how much the car was shaking. I never played Project Sekai in the car after that, and I still don't. I want to clarify that someone else was driving the car. Please do not use your phone while driving. I thought I could play at the ice rink, but there was no Wi-Fi, not even a signal to use my data, so I lost 2.5 hours of playtime. While I was skating, I was stressed about my rank the entire time. At least I'm exercising and staying healthy though. I guess it's a good break from the chaos. After I came back home, I went to check my rank and I dropped from T66 to T87 in the hours I was busy. This competition is no joke. Honestly, I was starting to regret taking on this challenge. I definitely felt my health deteriorate a bit, and I was also wondering if I should just cut my losses now and give up on T50. I mean, I haven't spent any crystals yet, so backing out now would be fine, and T100 is still an amazing accomplishment. But I pushed those thoughts away because I'm Joe, the It's Jolted, and I never back down from a challenge. If I set a goal, I will accomplish it. So I start up again at 7:30 p.m. on ×7 energy. I wanted to go on ×5, but since I lost that time, my manager recommended I go on ×7. At 10:08 p.m., I hit T67, and I have a picture of this because the person above me had a really funny name. It's only day 2, and I'm losing my marbles over how agonizing it is to climb up the ranks. I would compare this experience to grades in school. When you get a bad grade, your average plummets. And when you get a good grade, your average barely goes up. So you need to receive many good scores to compensate for that one bad grade. The bad grade in my case was not playing, so I had to work 10 times as hard to get back to where I was. I played for the rest of the night and 11 p.m. hits. Dead hours! This is my time to shine. I'm gonna show a timeline right here of where I was at the time. As you can see, as you're nearing the top, it's more strenuous to climb. Once I hit T40, I switched back to ×5 energy to save bonus energy. At 3:45 a.m., I hit T39, which is the Miku rank. At this point, I was planning on stopping at 4 a.m., but I decided to keep going to maintain my lead, so I continued to play until 5 a.m. At long last, it was time to finish the day. Here are the final stats for day 2. I ended at T38 with 8,067,970 points. I went really hard today. Attaining 5 million points in a day is really hard. I made it to rank 213. I now had 146,425 crystals. Aside from leveling up and the mission pass, I can't remember where I got the extra crystals from. I'm pretty sure it might have been from a special login campaign. I don't know though, it's been so long, I can't remember. I used 73 L cans today, so we still have a decent amount of resources left. So I still had 484 S cans, 50 L cans, and 17 food items. And our disband count comes to a whopping 423 disbands. I feel like I definitely forgot to count some as I was tiering, so it could have been more. I would argue that this was the worst day in my tiering journey. I don't think I've seen this many disbands in my life. Here's what my journal looked like after this day ended. On this day, I recall resting my eyes for about 10 to 15 seconds during the wait times, which in retrospect was a really dangerous thing to do because I could have definitely fallen asleep.
Day 3.
Wow, would you look at that? I woke up on time! Woo! I logged in and saw that I got 1 L can and 100 crystals from another maintenance. I am proud to announce that this maintenance fixed the 89 bug, so we don't have any more disbands! I began the day at T52, which is not bad, but still out of my goal, so we need to climb. I did shows on ×5 energy until 12:30 p.m. and then I had to stop because I had an appointment. I was still at T52 when it ended. I was given 80 energy by a generous donor, so I played Hatsune Creation Myth, which will be shortened to HCM from this point forward, on Master, on auto 10 times on ×10 energy. I started to play again at 3:05 p.m. on ×7 energy, and at this point I was at T57. At 4:13 p.m. I hit T53, and I just kept playing until I took a break at 10 p.m. to eat dinner. When I took a break, I was at T41. Once I finished dinner, it was back to the grind. I started up again at 11:25 p.m. on ×5 energy, and shockingly, I was still at T41. Day 3 definitely had its challenges. There were some connection issues, and sometimes I would be kicked out of a custom room that I created. I began playing on hard difficulty because I was just so exhausted, so my accuracy plummeted as a result. So if you saw me mess up on hard mode, no you didn't. We also kept getting boss songs. I feel like the song picker for this event really liked throwing boss songs at me. I remember Endmark, Intense Voice, 16-Bit Wars, The End, and I even got Machine Gun Poem 3 times in a row. Can you imagine how exhausting that was? I would say that this is the day where the adrenaline wears off and you really start to feel the fatigue. Some of the songs did not sound normal to me. I vividly remember playing ID Smile and not recognizing the melody. I knew I was playing the ID Smile chart, but for some reason the song just sounded so off. My eyesight was also wavering, as when I looked at my phone, it looked like it was moving around. No hallucinations though. I ended the day at 1:06 a.m. Here are the final stats for day 3. I ended at T39, which is the Miku rank, at 13,190,500 points. I got to rank 220 and had 148,255 crystals. All of my L cans and food items are gone. Our bonus energy cans are starting to dwindle. I only have 484 S cans left. The disband count is only 13 today, thankfully, but we still had a lot of broken rooms and connection errors. Fun fact, at 1:30 a.m. I dropped to T42. The rankings are just so volatile. Like, your rank can drop in the blink of an eye. Like, I didn't even get to breathe before I dropped. If you've been keeping track of my score increase, you'll notice that I've decided on a pace of 5 million points a day. Setting these benchmarks really helped me in the long run. But once again, it's easier said than done because getting this amount takes a lot of grinding. The estimated point cutoff for T50 was 45 million, which was way higher than I anticipated. I was thinking 35 million, but clearly I was being delusional. I was reassured that we're still early in the event and the cutoffs usually decrease over the course of the event.
Day 4.
This is the first time I woke up in the early morning. Okay, it's because I had an appointment, so unfortunately I could not tear straight away. What I did do was burn my nats. Nats I think is short for natural because it refers to the bonus energy that naturally regenerates over time, and you get 1 bonus energy every 30 minutes. I played on ×3 energy in pubs and used up all 10 energy. Before I started my tiering sessions for the day, my manager suggested that I increase the mastery rank, which will be shortened to MR, on all the Cyberset cards for an extra 30% event bonus. I originally just wanted to get Toya to MR2 to unlock his hair and then Emu to MR1. Sorry, Nene. However, my manager told me that the event bonus increase would only be 21% compared to 30%, so I just bit the bullet and got everyone to MR1. It was so painful using that many wish pieces, but it was for the greater good. I also switched my team leader from Toya to Emu because Emu's card has a scoring skill, and as I mentioned before, score is most important when tiering. Toya's card has a perfect luck skill, which is not as beneficial to tiering. And Nene's card has a healing skill, which won't be as efficient as Emu's scoring skill. I was truly in my min-maxing era, so if you saw me with Emu as my leader, that was the reason. It really hurt me because I wanted to show off my Toya to the world, but I needed all the help I could get. And I love Emu anyways, so it was alright. I wanted to prepare myself mentally before I started the grind again, so I ate my breakfast in peace. At 9:30 a.m., it was time to go back to tiering jail.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
I started at T51, which is not too bad, but we need to get going. If we're keeping our pace of 5 million points a day, we need to hit 18 million by the end of today. For this session, I was playing on ×5 energy to conserve some materials because I will for sure run out of cans today. I really enjoyed getting raid 2 times in a row on this day. It's truly one of the highlights of this event. I took a break at 3:21 p.m. at T41 with 31 S cans left and an extra 2 L cans from the mission pass. I've been playing for 6 hours on poor quality sleep. Therefore, the logical thing for me to do is to take a nap. I planned on sleeping for 2 hours, but a common theme here is that I oversleep. So I actually slept for 3 hours.
What happened?
I started up again at 7:10 p.m. at T47 on ×5 energy. At 8:13 p.m. I had used up all my cans. Which means we have to do the unthinkable. Using crystals. Luckily, I am a professional crystal hoarder, so I have 149,125 crystals to burn through. Yay! I took a break at 9:40 p.m. not because I wanted to, but because I had to. Want to take a guess? It's another maintenance! I ended my session at T44. I was in a good spot, so I was actually thankful for this maintenance. I normally don't get to eat my dinner peacefully, and this is one of those times. I got to take a short 21-minute power nap before maintenance ended at 11:30 p.m. To be honest, I wanted the maintenance to last until the rest of the event. I was beyond exhausted. I remember looking for a hair clip before realizing it was already on my head. So at midnight, the results of the crew battle for the first round were released and Team Garbage won, so I was able to get an extra 3 S cans from that, which were obviously used up immediately. When I started again, it was 12:11 a.m. and I was at T45. I would be playing on ×5 energy. After about 30 minutes, my team was tired. They were basically done for the night. I still had 30 energy left, so I pubbed to clear it out and then I ended the night. It was a long day for all of us. I ended the day at 12:40 a.m. Here are the final stats for day 4. I ended at T45 with 17,442,442 points, which is lower than I planned, but there's always tomorrow to catch up. I got to rank 225 and I had 148,375 crystals left. I still had 2 L cans from the maintenance, but I had to start preparing to spend my crystals for the rest of the event. I have no more S cans or food items left. The disband count is 25. You might be wondering why we're still on day 4, and that's because at 1:40 a.m. my team told me that they can continue, so we got to work. I continued playing shows on ×5 energy until 3:45 a.m. Here are the real final stats for day 4. I ended at T44 with 18,491,456 points. As you can see, I overshot my goal, which was fantastic. There's no better feeling than this. I got to rank 227 and I had 147,325 crystals left. At this point, all my cans and food items are officially gone. The disband count is still 25. I know I said I had a lot of crystals to spare, but I really didn't want to spend over 30k on this. I still have other banners to pull on. I can sacrifice some crystals, but not everything I have. It's the end of day 4 and the cutoffs have not decreased. I was promised that this event would slow down. I'm starting to think it's not gonna slow down. See, I was picturing that the event would level off at some point, but it seems as though the points are increasing in a linear fashion. This event even had my manager perplexed, and she's an experienced tierer. Lord, what have I gotten myself into? Day 5. Well, thank goodness I didn't oversleep again. Look at that discipline and determination. You go, girl! I started on T48 on ×5 energy with 147,355 crystals. By this point, we're hitting the halfway mark. The stress was really getting to me because it was becoming increasingly difficult to eat. I didn't eat normally in the past few days, and that had a huge effect on my appetite. The cutoff for T50 after day 2 was predicted to be around 45 million, and that has pretty much stayed the same since. So it's safe to say that if I do not reach that, I will not be getting T50. That is a huge amount of pressure to put on someone like me. And this is my first time seriously tiering. Boy, did I choose the best event to start with. I played for 3 hours, then decided to take a break at 12:30 for lunch, and I ended at T47. While I was eating, I would have the shows on auto playing HCM on Master, on ×3 energy, 10 times. By this day, my mission pass is fully completed. 4 days into the month. I finished eating and start again at 2:41 p.m. at T48 on ×5 energy. I continued trudging on for about 4 hours and took a break at 6:30 p.m. ending at T46. When I was in tiering mode, I was checking my rank. Constantly. It was borderline obsessive. My heart would stop whenever I saw my rank drop. I cannot emphasize enough how stressful it is to tier. It's even worse when it's an ultra competitive event. I checked my rank at 9 p.m. and saw I fell 1 rank. Honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's never easy to see yourself fall. I began burning nats at 9:30 p.m. By this point, my rank fell once again. I am now at T48. Everything I experienced is really starting to catch up to me. The fatigue, the stress, the pressure. I personally thought that this experience was testing how much torture I can put my body through before I pass out. I began another intense tiering session at 10 p.m. on ×7 energy. I am still at T48. The session would end at 2:52 a.m. and that's where I decided to call it for day 5. Here are the final stats. I ended at T44 with 24,522,539 points. I got to rank 234 with 139,715 crystals left, and I have no more resources that can give me bonus energy. Our disband count on this day was 23. Now you may have noticed that my routine on this day was a bit different compared to how I did the other days. The break times are a little weird. I went for a 6 million point increase, and I started using ×7 energy again. Remember when I said I had a short work trip? Yeah, so this is the day before my flight. Therefore, I had to compensate for the time I was going to be inactive due to checking in and boarding the plane. I also had to account for the time I was going to lose if there was no Wi-Fi or signal on the plane. That's why I had to increase my energy usage to ensure I had a comfortable point lead above T50. The breaks I took were for packing. I recall being so overwhelmed trying to make sure I packed all my essentials while also worrying about my rank falling. I would say day 5 is where I almost broke down. Everything started feeling like too much. I was gonna be losing tiering time and the competition was insane. I thought about giving up a lot during this time, and being tired made these feelings a lot more intense. Day 6. So today's my flight. I had to get ready and I made sure I ate beforehand. So from around 4:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. I would be burning nats. I didn't want to get into the grind mode unless I was certain I was in an environment where I would be undisturbed. I did try to play any chance I got, but it was very limited. As I boarded the plane and settled in, it was the standard procedure. Before the plane takes off, they go over the safety rules and you get the idea. However, one thing stood out to me. The plane has free Wi-Fi. I triple checked to make sure my ears were not deceiving me. I grabbed the booklet and sure enough, this airline provides free Wi-Fi. Most of the time you have to pay for Wi-Fi, so this was a major win for me. I estimated I'd lose about 10 to 14 hours of tiering, which would have been so detrimental to my run. To find out that I can still tier on the plane? We are so back! At 9:30 a.m., the plane stabilized and the Wi-Fi was working. I locked into tier on ×7 energy starting at T46. I had 139,695 crystals at this time. You know, free Wi-Fi is always a gamble, which is why I tested it out to make sure I could properly play the game through. I needed to make sure I could play the whole chart through and then see if my points would register. Both worked. The only issue is loading time. There are some lags and delays, but it was still doable. Unfortunately, I encountered many issues on my end when I was doing custom rooms, so I apologize to the people I inconvenienced during this time. I distinctly recall dying during a co-op show because the flight attendant was serving drinks. I felt so bad! Tiering on an airplane is definitely something I will remember for the rest of my life. Such a unique experience. Another funny thing to mention is that I got the middle seat. I'm sure the two people sitting next to me were wondering why a girl is playing a tap-tap game for hours straight in their peripheral vision. To be honest, I was a little embarrassed at first. I tried playing on my thumbs to be more discreet, but my hands cramp a lot when I play with my thumbs. So I sucked it up and put that flimsy airplane table down, placed my phone there, and played away on my index fingers. I got over my fear by realizing that everyone is engrossed in their own lives. Sure, they'll probably judge me for like a minute or two, but then they'll forget and focus on themselves. I have an important mission to accomplish. I will not let anything stop me. Okay, from here on out, the times get a bit wonky. I was flying from one part of the country to another, meaning I was slowly changing time zones. I was looking back through my journal and I just recorded the time as I saw it on my phone. But my phone follows the time zones I'm in, so I'm not really sure about the timeline here, so I'll just state what I recorded. At 10:52 a.m. I took a break because I couldn't keep my eyes open and I saw my accuracy declining. I was running on very little sleep. The plane was also experiencing turbulence, so the Wi-Fi was not working properly. I ended at T45. The next time I recorded my plays, it said I started at 10:54 a.m. But that's not correct since based on the time I recorded before, this would mean I took a 2-minute break, which doesn't make sense because I recall taking a fat nap on that plane. I'm assuming my time zone shifted 1 to 2 hours back. I can't recall the exact time zone, so I guess we'll never know. Anyways, I started playing at 10:54 a.m. on Time 7 Energy at T45, and I ended this tiering session at 11:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at T46. Pacific Standard Time, or PST for short, because I'm pretty sure by this point I landed at my destination, so I had to take a break. I know the times start to get confusing, so I want to make sure you guys know that by this point, I am experiencing life in PST. After getting off the plane, I would just pub whenever I had the time on Time 7 Energy to keep up with the increasing cutoffs. But honestly, I don't remember having a lot of time to play. There was a lot of traveling, and I was not going to play in a moving vehicle after what happened on day 2. Tiering aside, my trip was super fun. I got to eat a lot of good food and I got to spend some time with my family, which was really nice. Although I did have to mentally prepare for the filming project the next day since this is a work trip. And it doesn't help that the leaderboard was moving erratically. I mean, it's the weekend, so I guess it makes sense. When I wasn't playing, I was stressing out. And I think every tier can relate to that feeling. I can't remember anything else I did on this day. I probably took a nap. The next time I got to sit down and properly tier was 11 p.m. PST. The horror on my face when I realized I dropped to T55. We gotta do it. It's time to bring out the big guns. Times 10 energy. If you're trying to tier and have a limited amount of resources, please do not tier with this energy. It is the most inefficient way to get rewards and points. Remember, times 3, times 5, or times 7 energy. I was extremely behind with the time I lost, and I still had a decent amount of crystals, so I could afford it. Climbing 5 places might not seem like a lot, but I can assure you that it is the most exhausting thing ever when you are that high. Cutoffs are unpredictable as you can never predict how someone will tier. The fact that everyone's panicking and trying to stay within a threshold will push the point cutoffs even higher. Let me explain the gaps. At that point in time, the point gap between me and T50 was around 500k points. The point gap between me and T49 was around a whopping 1.2 million points. It's hard to visualize how much 1 million points is, so let me help you put it into perspective. Play a show on times 10 energy with the team you have during an event. Look at the amount of event points you gained from that live show. Now divide 1 million by that number. That's how many shows you have to play to close that gap. And don't forget you're in a time crunch. Now you might be wondering, did I really play that much? Yes I did. And I did 5 times or more that amount. Do you see the pain that tiers have to go through? It's torturous. I ended at 3 a.m. PST. Here are the final stats for day 6. I ended at T45 with 28,571,891 points. I got to rank 238 with 133,065 crystals left. We still have no bonus energy items, I fear. The disband count is 19. I tried to aim for 5 million points a day, but as you can see, I could not reach that with the schedule I had today. It was disappointing, but it was out of my control. I don't have an ending screenshot for this day, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it. I mean, I wrote it down. Plus, I had a long day, so cut me some slack. I would say that this day was one of the more stressful days of tiering. The rank drop was crushing. Catching up is always agonizing, but I fought my way back. I have to really push through these last few days of the event to make up for the time I'm gonna lose. It was nearing day 7, and the event has not slowed down. 45 million is starting to feel like a necessity to guarantee T50 unless a miracle happens. Day 7. Tiering wise, the worst day. And I'm talking the absolute worst day. When I woke up, I started at T49. All I could do in the morning was play HCM Master on auto 3 times on ×3 energy to burn nats. I was exhausted. I had no energy to manually play any chart. When I got to the filming space, they took my phone. Absolutely devastating. I had no access to my phone whatsoever, so I knew it was over. My rank was gonna plummet. The filming project took the majority of the day. A whole day of tearing, gone. I was stressing about my rank the whole time. However, I was here to work, so I made sure to give my full attention to that. But it was always in the back of my mind when I wasn't filming. I didn't get a chance to get on Project Sekai until 12 a.m. PST. And then I was gonna start tearing. But what do you know? Right when I get back, there's another maintenance! Totally needed that right now. I started tearing again officially at 12:45 a.m. PST on ×10 energy with 133,195 crystals left. I was at T58. The game gave out 2 L-cans for maintenance and Team Garbage won the second round, so I was able to get an extra 3 S-cans from that. My whole body was about to give out and my team urged me to rest. So at 3 a.m. PST, I stopped tearing for the night. Here are the final stats for day 7. I ended at T57 with 29,729,796 points. I got to rank 239 and I had 131,565 crystals left. I have no bonus energy items. Our disband count was 3. It was a tragic day for tearing. But personally, it was one of the highlights of my life. It was a very fun opportunity and I got to meet so many great people. I was on a professional filming set and got my makeup done and I even had a stylist. It was basically my first acting opportunity. Unfortunately, the project did not go through and that made me so sad because I really wish you guys could have seen it. It was a fun project to be on and I absolutely do not regret going. I learned a lot and I hope I can carry this experience elsewhere in the future. Day 8. I have to fly home now. Yay! We're in the biggest pickle tier-wise. I woke up to seeing myself at T58. The point gap between T58 and T50 was roughly 3.7 million points. There is a lot of work to be done to claw our way back. I did ask my team if T50 was still within reach, and they told me if I locked in for the rest of the event, it was still possible. I was free for the rest of the event. I was going to take home T50 for the Jolties. I started the day with 131,615 crystals. I used my daily 10 auto shows to play HCM on Master on ×3 energy because I had to pack. It was the only way for me to keep my points increasing while doing something else. Honestly, this day was a bit of a blur. I'm pretty sure I tried to pub when I could between packing and boarding my flight. Once I was on that plane, it was time to roll. I started tearing again at 2:30 p.m. PST on ×10 energy starting from T59. I played the whole ride back. I did not sleep for a single second. We already lost a whole day. Sleep is not an option anymore. I got the middle seat again, and I know the 2 guys sitting beside me were judging, but did I care? No, because as I said before, after the flight was over, they were gonna forget me. I had a mission. I was going to see this through. The Wi-Fi on the plane started getting wonky, so I was forced to take a break at 8:09 p.m. I'm not too sure about the time zone. I think it's CST. This caused me so much stress because if you are losing time and not playing, you are guaranteed to fall, and the points within my tier were rising quickly. And it didn't help that I was only at T56. The Wi-Fi stabilized at around 9:55 p.m. Eastern, so I started to tier again on ×10 energy and I started at T56. From this point on, I have returned to my time zone, so all the times after this are in Eastern or EST. I only did pubs because I didn't want to inconvenience anyone in case my crappy Wi-Fi was disrupting the flow of the rooms. My intuition ended up being correct because at around 10:17 p.m. I lost Wi-Fi again, with me still being at T56 with a 5 million point gap staring right at me. But my plane was landing anyway. I was able to get 2 more games in before I landed, and this will conclude the airplane tearing saga. I got home, took a shower, and then got down to business. It's go time. This is my T50 debution. I was able to finally sit down for a proper tearing session at 12:36 a.m. on ×10 energy. At this point, I am at T58. We will be closing this point gap. T50 is sitting 4 million points away, and T49 is 5 million points away. This is light work. I was playing like no tomorrow. If you could have seen me. Actually, I don't want anyone to see what I look like when I tier. I took a break at 4:31 a.m. and I was at T53. I was at around 35 million points at this time, with T50 and T49 being at around 38 million points. Let this be a lesson for you all. Don't let the ranks fool you. The point gap is always much larger than you expect. I started up again at 6:06 a.m. on ×10 energy at T53. Yes, you are hearing that correctly. I only slept for about an hour. I blinked and it was time to tier again. I already lost a full day, so to make up for it, I was not allowed to sleep until the event ended. Day 8 ends at 7:02 a.m. and here are the final stats. We are still at T53 after about 3 hours. Please save me from this tier. I was at 36,328,702 points, and I am at rank 246. I have 119,665 crystals left, and no bonus energy items left. The disband count is 26. To summarize day 8, lots of traveling, lots of internal screaming, and lots of catching up. Day 9, final day. You might be doing a double take. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. You are seeing this correctly. I decided to start a new day because the server reset, but I did not sleep until I was fully finished with this event. We have a long road ahead, and we have to make up for lost time. We still need to close the point gap and get back into T50. I started at T53 with 119,665 crystals, and I played on ×10 energy for the rest of the day. This is one of those days where I was fully on autopilot. I wish I had a better story to tell for this day, but I really just sat in one spot for hours and hours and hours playing shows. It's about as monotonous as you can get. Team selected, hit ready, matchmaking, rival team found, song selection, play chart, fast menuing, and repeat. I didn't look at the time because I felt like that would make the time go by slower. It's similar to how when you're in class, time goes by agonizingly slow every time you check the clock. A fun fact about this day is that I skipped my figure skating lessons for this PNG title. I think that tells you where my priorities lie. Fortunately, this is part of my job. I tiered so that I can make a video out of it, so the sacrifice is worth it. Once again, I do not recommend anyone doing what I did. Do not skip important things like school or work for tiering. I checked in with my manager at around 44 million points and was told to keep going until I hit 45 million. At this point, I was at T44 with 44,059,242 points. At around 6 p.m., I switched to playing on ×7 energy. I continued playing in custom rooms until 8:09 p.m., stopping at T43 with 45,469,260 points. My team was starting to do calculations for me. I pubbed until I hit 45,500,080 points. A common thing people do when tiering is park. Parking means that you are stopping when you hit a certain amount of event points. Typically, people choose numbers that are fun or clean looking, like 88,888,888, or choose numbers that contain their favorite characters' birthdays, or choose a number that has a significant personal meaning to the tierer. I decided that my parking number would be 45,525,909. The 45 doesn't have any meaning. I just chose to stop at 45 million because at that point I was pretty much guaranteed to be within T50. So the 525 represents Toya's birthday, May 25th, and 909 is Emu's birthday, September 9th. I wanted my two favorite characters represented in my parking number. I apologize to Nene for not fitting her birthday in, but I am not tiering until 72 million. So how did I park? In order to park at a specific number, you need to be meticulous in how you play shows to get that specific amount of points. People will typically play Hitorinbo Envy on easy in a solo show to park, so no co-op. And this is all done on ×0 bonus energy. There's a chart that everyone uses that I'll show in a moment, and I'll link it down in the description below if you want to check it out. To get my parking number, I had to carefully craft a team with a specific amount of event bonus. When you play Hitorinbo Envy, you have to fall within a certain point threshold to get the points you want. So typically, when you reach that point threshold, you stop playing the chart. That's why healers are beneficial for this process. So keep in mind that this will only work if you play Hitorimbo Envy on easy in a solo show. If you do not follow those 3 requirements, the number will not be correct. Also, don't forget to play on 0 bonus energy. So I know this chart looks vast and confusing, but I promise it's not. So this blue axis here you see, it represents your team's event bonus. This pink axis here, this represents the point threshold you need to fall in during a live show to get the event points you want. And the event points you're looking for are represented in white here. And there's a lot of combinations you can try to reach your parking number. So let's say I have my park number. I do some calculations and it turns out I need 400 event points to reach my park number. So I'm gonna press Ctrl F to see my options. And as you can see, there are many combinations I can try to get 400 event points. So I'm gonna choose this cell right here with 180% event bonus because I think I can build a team with this event bonus. And let's see what score I need to fall under to get this. And it says I need to fall within 860,000 and 879,999 points within a live show. Play Hitorimbo Envy with the requirements I listed, match the point threshold, and you should get the event points you need. Keep in mind that what I just showed was an example. You would normally calculate and adjust depending on how far you are to your parking number. The suggested place to stop playing shows normally is around 1,000 event points before your parking number. I did exactly what my manager wanted me to do because if I messed up, it's over. Well, okay, not really over because I still got T50, but my backup parking number was 45,909,525. And I didn't want to play anymore. I wanted it to be over. This was my first time parking, so I was very stressed about doing anything wrong. I'm pretty sure my manager was like, "It is not that serious. Please calm down." But it was serious to me. However, even if I messed up, as long as I restarted the show before the show clear pop-up, it would be fine. Doesn't mean I wasn't anxious though. I think the lack of sleep exacerbated the anxiety as well. Fortunately, I did everything correctly, and I made it to my parking number, okay? I officially stopped tiering at 10:26 p.m. and ended at T45. Now, I'm sure you're all dying to know what my final rank was. Well, it's T47! Woo! It would have been so iconic if I ended at T45, right? Yeah. So that didn't happen because of the end rush. Remember when I compared tiering to a running competition that combines the 100-meter dash and a marathon? So this is where the marathon transitions back into the 100-meter dash and everyone is fighting as hard as they can during these last few moments. You're never truly safe until the final second. I was safe within T50, but my final rank was still up for debate. I mean, how many ranks can you really change in 90 minutes? Well, you can fall 2 ranks within that time. And I would know because that happened to me. I got boated at the last second. Boating is another term commonly used in tiering, and it refers to when someone kicks you out of your rank. You know what? I was in T50 and that's all that mattered. To hell with a pretty rank number. We have made our T50 debut shot! Here are my final stats after the event ended. My final rank is T47 with 45,525,909 points. I got to rank 254 and Team Garbage won the final round, so I gained an extra 200 crystals from that. This leaves me with 104,145 crystals left. I know this one might come as a shocker, but I have no bonus energy materials left. The disband count for day 9 is 37, and the final total disband count over the course of the entire event comes to over 748 disbands. Oh, you thought I forgot about my trust ranks? My Akito and Toya trust rank went from level 5 to level 21, and my Emu and Nene trust rank went from level 1 to level 19. Now let's do some comparisons. I began the event at rank 201, and by the end of the event, I was rank 254. For bonus energy materials, I had 483 S-cans, 165 L cans, 17 food items, and then I got some extra cans from maintenance, mission pass, player rank level ups, trust rank level ups, and team garbage winning. After I was done with the event, I was left with nothing. No items left. 0. The highest crystal count I started with after Gacha was 148,375. After everything, I had 104,145 crystals. Not including Gacha, I spent 44,430 crystals. And that's on top of the materials I already had. If we want to include Gacha, I spent a total of 122,430 crystals on T47. Do you see how expensive it is to tier? Please, I beg you, just save your crystals for the gacha. Here is the custom profile I created after the event was over. Thank you so much to everyone that tiered with me. You are a great help, and it was so fun to meet so many cool people. Here are some screenshots of team names I came up with during the event. Here is a list of other team names I remember but don't have screenshots of. Plankton is a reference of this person's drawing of Plankton from SpongeBob from when they were a kid, and it still kills me to this day. Day 23 is another SpongeBob reference, and I'll play that clip here.
Day 23! Give it up for Day 23!
A team I'll never forget to this day is Airplane Wi-Fi. They are truly the MVP. I would like to take the time to thank this team for being so patient with me. They stuck by me through the horrible wonky Airplane Wi-Fi, and if it wasn't for this team, I wouldn't have gotten T50. I also apologize once again for the inconvenience I caused. Thank you so much!
Epilogue.
So what did I do after? Well, I passed out. Completely knocked out. I had a nice sleep with no alarms set. The next day, I documented the materials I gained from tiering. I got tons of upgrading materials. Look at how many practice scores I gained. And that's not all. I got charms, gems, seeds, coins. I'm pretty much set for the next couple months. Years even. I was waiting patiently for this very moment, buying everything from the shop. I only bought the Akito 3-star and the cans during the week because they helped me tier. I left everything else alone until now. I would say this was definitely one of the most satisfying moments of my Project Sekai career, especially the coins. I got my title and rewards in the mail. Look at that generous crystal reward. I can spark the next limited Toya 4-star with this. Here is a video of me wearing my T50 title like a badge of honor. I earned this title. I am wearing this proudly on my profile. Here is a screenshot of me on the leaderboard with my shiny new badge. Hi, Mom and Dad. Look, I'm top 50. Funnily enough, when I showed my mom I got T50 in an event, she asked me why I wasn't T1. Oh, Mom, if only you knew. Final thoughts. I wanted to wrap this video up by talking more in depth about what I went through and what I learned by taking on this journey. First and foremost, do not tier. I really want to drive this point home. It is not healthy. I was not sleeping properly. I was not eating properly. I was constantly stressed. My physical health definitely took a massive hit. I had physical problems in the following month or two after I finished tiering. I was playing on expert and hard difficulty the entire week, and that put a tremendous amount of strain on my hands. This affected my ability to stream Project Sekai in the following weeks. I could typically play for about 3 hours. After tiering, I couldn't last more than 1 hour of playing without feeling pain or discomfort in this part of my hands. I was really concerned for my health. I wondered if I did permanent damage to my hands and if I had to end my Project Sekai career. Luckily though, the pain was not permanent. When I streamed Project Sekai, I would play lower difficulties, and if my hands started to hurt, I would end the stream early. I also took some days off to rest my hands. Thankfully, I am able to play as long as before. I would equate the pain to being extremely sore after running a long distance. My hands were not used to moving this intensely, so to suddenly thrust them in a high-performing environment really put a strain on them. Please remember to take care of your health. This was such a scary time for me. I would sacrifice sleep for personal hygiene. It was important to me to shower, brush my teeth, and wash my face regularly. As for food, I would avoid foods that got my hands dirty. If I had to eat snacks, I would use chopsticks. One night, my family got pizza and I cut it up into pieces so I could eat it with a fork. I don't like to touch my phone with dirty hands. I rarely ate a meal without Project Sekai playing next to me. I would take as many bites of food as I could between shows. To keep myself awake, I would listen to podcasts or watch long documentaries. I mean, like, if I'm gonna be sitting here for hours straight, might as well learn something new or listen to an interesting story while I'm at it. Thinking back, I probably should have picked a TV show to binge watch like Criminal Minds or something, but oh well. Stretches would also help me stay awake. On the last day of tearing, I got out my yoga mat and teared on the floor while doing stretches. I remember splashing my face with cold water if I was starting to get sleepy. I got the idea from this one scene in iCarly that has stayed in my mind forever. It was the one where they were trying to break a record and have their web show go on for 24 hours. When they got tired, they dunked their heads in cold water and it kept them awake for longer. So if I was getting sleepy, I would go to the sink and splash my face with cold water. And if I was gonna take a shower, I would use cold water so that I would stay awake after. I was truly min-maxing my life so that I could tear as efficiently as possible. What a time to be alive! Hydration is super important when tearing for extended periods of time. I always had 2 to 3 bottles of water on standby. I mean, you should be hydrating regardless, but it's easy to forget when you're tearing. Whenever I got tired, I would drink water as well. I also want to talk about the importance of having a good support system when you're tearing. Tearing is a very stressful thing to go through and you hit a lot of low points along the way. A strong, supportive community will help you get out of those situations. I am thankful to have my manager and my mods cheering me on and believing in me when I didn't even believe in myself. I would not have gotten to where I am without their help, and I want to thank them once again. And a special thank you to Room 8 Secret Society for their kindness and helping me find rooms to play in. I am once again reiterating that this is not a tearing guide. As a matter of fact, I would encourage viewers to stay as far away from tearing as possible. Do not replicate the behaviors discussed in this video. Please prioritize your health. I hope this was entertaining to watch and listen to. It's definitely an experience that I do not want anyone to go through. I have concluded that after this, I am never tearing again. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye! I would like to end this video with all the friend requests I got with custom messages. I received so much support and I did read all of them. Thank you all so much for supporting me on my journey. I will continue to work hard and improve.